Aloha students, I'm going to take a little time today to show you how you can use Google Drive to create a concept map that's going to help you determine what would be the appropriate content to be able to share on your blog. Many of you have been asking me, what can I write about on my blog? Well, some of the things you'll be writing about are things about design, tech, and your other courses. But if you want to blog about other things as well, it's okay, provided we follow some rules. Right now, we're just going to brainstorm some ideas that we'd like. I've got an example concept map for my blog file started. What you're going to need to do is make sure that you're in your Design Tech 6 student folder, the one that we created specifically for you, your folder. Once you're inside there, and you can see all your other files, you'll go up to Create on your menu, scroll down, and choose Drawing. When you do that, it's going to become I guess what you would call an untitled drawing. I'd like you to make sure that you change the name of this drawing. Many of you already have it titled. We titled it in class, so that shouldn't be an issue. If you've already got the file, go ahead, just open it up. It's probably blank inside. There's a couple of things that you can do, but the way that we're going to be creating a concept map kind of looks like a spider web in a way. It's going to have a hub in the middle and have spokes that come out in different directions to kind of give you a sense and idea of the information that you might be sharing with us. You can be as creative as you want, you can be as colorful as you want, as long as the content on there is easy to read and see. You can go ahead and choose a bunch of these different tools up top. One of them is called the Shape tool. If you click on that, you can grab shapes such as different shapes and arrows, call-outs, and equations. If I were to start with a very simple call-out or a very simple shape, I might just start with something like an oval. If I go ahead and click and drag in a direction, it'll make an oval whatever size I want it to. If I were to hold down my shift key, it'll actually make a perfect circle. That's kind of a neat thing. So just so you know, there are a couple of different ways that you could do that. Once you've got your shape created, you can modify it. Notice as I move it around my screen, I could line it up perfectly centered to the both vertical and horizontal axis. But once I have a shape selected, and just so you know, to select a shape, you need to make sure you're using the select arrow. You can either drag around it or simply click on it. But to select it, you need to make sure you've got the select tool selected. Once I've got that, I can do a whole bunch of things to the shape. I can change the fill color. Right now it's a light blue, or I can make it completely 100% transparent if I wanted to. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and make the fill color a dark green. I can change the line color too. Maybe I'm feeling Christmassy and I want it to be red on the outside. I could make the line on the outside thicker. I could even make it dashed and dotted. Oh, it looks really Christmassy now, doesn't it? If I were to double click on here, I could add text in. Like I could put my name, Mr. Connor's blog, something along those lines. Or if I had a really cool name I wanted to call it. But once I got that text in the middle, I could bold the text. I could change the font size of the text. 18 still fits. I could change the font type of the text. Ooh, I like calligraphy. I could even go through the process of centering the text both there as well as centering the text vertically and horizontally. That's kind of a nice look. I like it. Maybe I'll get rid of the Mr. and just call it Connor's blog. Okay, anyways. So I've got this. Oh, maybe I need to change the color of the font. Well, there's even a tool for that. Text color. Maybe I'll make it something like red so it's easier to see. There we go, Connor's blog. Now if I wanted to create additional shapes off in different directions, maybe I have interests in other areas. Maybe I like to do things like I like to exercise by going to CrossFit. There we go. There's my CrossFit. It doesn't look as pretty, but I could change that the way I want to. Maybe another thing that was very important to me is I follow something called the paleo diet, so I might go ahead and put that in there. Many of you don't know this, but I also love to play Ultimate, so I might put Ultimate down here. And I might go ahead and do one more. I might blog about technology because I love technology. And I could create these shapes in any way I want. I could put them wherever I want. But I've started off my concept map, and this is my main idea and my main concept. I want to branch out from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and instead of the line tool, I'm going to swap down and grab the arrow tool, and I can actually go and notice when I move it over a shape, I get these little handles that pop up, these little purple handles. I'm going to go ahead and connect one of these purple handles to one of these other shapes, and it will actually draw a line directly to it. I can draw one out to here, I can draw one out to there, I can draw one out to there. There we go. And it automatically will connect to that box, such that if I needed to move this box, and I do that, the line is stuck to it. It'll stay there. What's nice is I can actually line these up. Now that I'm using my arrow tool, I can actually line these up so that they're equidistant, and it actually looks kind of symmetrical. I kind of like that. And if if I needed to make it smaller or larger, I could do those types of things. And I could build additional boxes off of this. So there's lots of different things that you could do with this. But just know that you're going to be creating at least one major concept, that's you, at least 3 to 4 sub-concepts. These are the interests that I have beyond school. In fact, probably would have been a really good idea to maybe make one of these, school-related. That way I could, branch off of school, all the different things that I do. But one other thing I'm going to do is make sure that not only do I have my main concept and a sub-concept, I'm going to have some minor concepts attached to each of these as well. So if I was going to talk about technology, I would probably at least break that into a couple of different additional areas. Oh, notice I'm starting to run out of space. What am I going to do? Well, check out in the bottom right-hand corner, I can actually grab this and zoom out a little bit. I can stretch this out to make more space for myself. I can also go through the process of zooming in if I needed to zoom in. Okay, or if I wanted to, I could zoom out. I could go to View and go to 200%, and that's really zoomed in. Or I could go to 50%, and it's really small, and now I could probably go to that bottom right-hand corner. Oops, let me get rid of this tool. Let me go back to the 50%, and I could probably go ahead and stretch that out really big if I needed more and more and more space. But anyways, I'm going to now zoom in a little bit, so I can get closer to this. And I'll make 3 more triangles here. Shapes, triangle. Or even if I really wanted to, I wanted to make them exactly the same, I could click on this one. I could go edit and copy, edit and paste. It would make a second one that's exactly the same size. That's pretty forward, huh? And paste that again, and boom, now I got 3. I can line them up so they're all exactly the same height. There we go. Make sure they're all kind of the same distance. Oh, check that out. That's really neat. They actually start to look really good there. And again, I can go ahead and grab my arrow tool, and I can go ahead and go from the tip of this one to the middle of that one. But that's actually the wrong direction. Oops. Go from this one out to that, this one out to that, this one out to that. And maybe under technology, I'm a big fan of things like, Apple. Right? Maybe I need to make the font on there just a little smaller. See where I'm going with this? Not that hard to do. But I'm also a big fan of video games. Ooh, I need to fix that. And I'm also a big fan of other types of technology, especially mobile technology. Now, again, this looks really kind of junky, so I'd want to really reformat that to make it a little bit nicer. I'm going to go back to 50% view, and as you can kind of see, I got plenty of space now that I've made it a little bit larger. I can add simply text boxes. I could even add in images if I wanted to. So there's lots of different things I could do with this and make it look really neat. I'm going to actually take 2 seconds and show you some examples of how some students made it look very customized on a theme. Check these out. So mine looks a little funky. I haven't spent a lot of time on it. I don't really have a theme yet, but let me show you 2 students who created themes for theirs last year that were absolutely outstanding. Check it out. This was created by current 8th grader, and he created a froggy blog, and he actually made a picture of a froggy. He made everything really kind of nice. He wrote it in multiple languages because he actually speaks multiple languages, and so these are the things he thought he might blog about. And believe it or not, he does blog about those things to this day. This is another student's document, and what was interesting about this one is he knew video games were important to him, so he went and created a theme to his that really spoke to video games. And you can see he's really into YouTube. Here's the school area for design tech. He's into music. He's into books. And so here are the things that he thinks he might blog about. But he's keeping it within this particular theme. So you can be as creative as you want to. You can make it as big as you want to. You can go ahead and be creative, but kind of put some concepts together about what types of things you would like to blog about in addition to your schoolwork. But remember, don't put any personal information on here, so don't put your brother and sister's names and all that kind of stuff. But have fun with it. All right, good luck.